Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The Defense Department has struck deals with some of the nation's largest technology companies to deploy their advanced artificial intelligence capabilities on its classified networks. Federal News Network's Anastasia Obis is here with more details. Anastasia, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Terry.
What exactly did the Pentagon announce here in terms of AI?
Yeah, so last Friday, DoD said it struck agreements with SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and Reflection to integrate their AI capabilities into the department's Impact Level 6 and Impact Level 7 network environments. So Impact Level 6 is used for the storage and processing of information classified up to the secret level. And then when we're talking about Impact Level 7, that's highly restricted data. Then following that announcement on Friday morning, DoD CIO posted on social media platform X saying that Oracle had agreed to join the list of AI companies. So now we have these 8 companies deploying their AI capabilities into the classified environment. Of course, most of these companies are DoD contractors already, and I wanted to highlight what DoD said about this. They said these agreements will accelerate the transformation toward establishing the United States military as an AI-first fighting force and will strengthen our warfighters' ability to maintain decision superiority across all domains of warfare.
Anastasia, how does this fit with or connect to the Pentagon's broader AI strategy? What does it mean to have them inside the classified networks?
Yeah, so earlier this year, in January, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth released an AI strategy for the Defense Department, for the Department of War. He said, as I mentioned, DoD needs to become an AI-first force. That includes unleashing experimentation with America's leading AI models department-wide. It includes aggressively identifying and eliminating barriers to deeper integration. And then it also includes executing the set of pace-setting projects. There are about 7 or 8 of them, and those are focused on warfighting, enterprise, and intelligence areas. And these projects will kind of be crucial and will be critical foundational enablers for DoD. So this deal continues Hegseth's push to bring commercial AI into the Defense Department, and that would be following the launch of GenAI.mil platform in December that has gotten a lot of attention. So, for example, with GenAI, the initial rollout featured Google's Gemini. That is used for sensitive but unclassified information. But the goal ultimately is to introduce more models that will be available on all classification levels, and that will be available both to civilians and service members as well as contractors. Here's Andrew Mapes, the Defense Department's acting Principal Deputy Chief Digital and AI Officer.
On the business side, like I was talking about with agents, so looking to continue to employ agents, and with the rollout of Agent Designer as part of the Google Gemini GenAI.mil capability that we rolled out last month. So continue to push the adoption of that, as well as looking at continue to modernize GenAI.mil, not just at IL5, but IL6 and 7 with additional models incorporated in that.
Anastasia, what stands out to you about this announcement? Maybe both what it does say and what it doesn't say.
Yeah, of course, the elephant in the room is that the announcement excludes Anthropic. And Anthropic was the first AI company to deploy its models on the Pentagon's classified networks. The company was, of course, later designated by Hegseth as supply chain risk, and that was following a dispute over how the military can use the firm's AI models. The status is usually reserved for foreign companies that pose national security threat. The department said the companies it signed deals with that we're talking about will deploy their capabilities for lawful operational use. And that's, of course, the standard that was at the center of that dispute between Anthropic and DoD. At the same time, the company's tools were widely viewed as kind of superior to other competitors, and military users have been pretty slow to phase those out. But when announcing these deals with the 8 companies, Emil Michael, the Defense Department's Undersecretary for Research and Engineering and the department's Chief Technology Officer, said last Friday that the company is still a supply chain risk. He previously said he is pretty confident that DoD can very quickly phase out Anthropic's products without major disruptions. Here's Emil Michael.
Well, one of the problems, without getting into the specifics about Anthropic, is that we had one primary provider on classified networks. That doesn't work for the Department of War. It shouldn't work for any complex organization. We have to have other options.
What kinds of missions will these tools ultimately support?
We don't know. We don't have those details. And at this point, we don't know. We have a couple of clues. So, of course, the strategy gives us a couple of clues because they say that the effort will enable new capabilities across warfighting, intelligence, and enterprise operations. So we talked about that. But also in the statement that they released last Friday, they said that these AI capabilities will streamline data synthesis, elevate situational understanding, and augment warfighting decision-making in complex operational environments. So these are just a couple of clues to give us an idea of what to come.
And do we have a timeline of when the tools will actually be available to users rather than when they're beginning to be rolled out?
Not yet. The Defense Department hasn't provided a timeline for when these models will be operational on classified networks. But like with Gen AI that we just discussed, Andrew Mapes said that those models are expected to come online over the next couple of months as the Defense Department continues to expand GenAI.mil into higher classification environments. So we'll see.
That's Federal News Network's Anastasia Obis. Anastasia, thanks for bringing us the story.
Thank you, Terry.
You can find the full story at federalnewsnetwork.com.